Today I'm making a video showing you how to remove the thermostat on a 2015 Mini Countryman. First thing you want to do is unscrew this reservoir screw and unscrew this one back here. And just take this reservoir, you can pull the little hose off the top. Put a tray underneath it, you're going to drip coolant everywhere. So, let's do that. Then lift it up, and you can even take this whole thing if you want to. If you don't want to pull it off all the way, you can just kind of swing it out of the way. But I'm going to undo this clip right here, a little spring clip. You just get underneath it. This pick I'm using is kind of big for this, but it'll work. Like that, and then it just pulls straight up. So.
So first we're going to peel that battery cover off. Use our 10mm socket to remove the negative terminal of the battery. Once it's loose, just gently wiggle it and pull it up at the same time, and you'll be able to pull the terminal off, and then just kind of tuck it off to the side so it has no chance of reconnecting and completing a circuit. Here's a recap on how to remove the air filter housing. 3 Torx bolts there, and it slides out towards the front of the vehicle. And once that's out of the way, you can start removing the housing by removing a Torx bolt right there. And then there are 3 pegs on the back that snap into rubber grommets on the engine. So if you pull up gently on the housing, you'll feel them snap out of place, and then you're able to wiggle it out of the way. To remove this connection here, there are 2 Torx bolts that you need to remove, and then it will kind of wiggle out. Next up, we're going to remove the air pipes that are on the side of the engine. There are a few connections on those that we need to undo. So first, we're going to start by removing this one. There's a little clip on it that there's little ears on either side that hook into the connection, so you got to pry up on the little ears, and then you'll feel it let go, and then you got to do the same on the other side. And once you're able to unhook the little ears from the clip will pull out. Make sure you do not lose those clips because they do like to get lost. Sorry, my head's in the way here. But once the clip is out, just kind of put it off to the side so you don't lose it, and then you're able to just pull gently on this connection. There is a wiring harness also connected with it. It comes out at the same time. I like to put the clips back on just so I don't lose it, and then I know exactly what hose it came off of. So I'm just going to pop that clip back on just like that. And so it's out of the way, and I'm not going to lose it because knowing me, I would definitely lose it. Then you can just kind of move that hose out of the way. Next, we are going to loosen the hose clamp that goes to the turbo. If your car doesn't have a turbo, then you do not need to do this step, but this one does. So you just need a flat blade screwdriver, and you can unscrew the hook that goes to the turbo there. So that'll help us be able to wiggle that pipe out of the way. And then next, we are going to pull that little line off to the right. It also uses the same clip style, so we'll just use the pick again and get that one off. Once that one's free, we have one more sensor to disconnect. For this one, you'll need a pick. There's a little locking tab that you need to pry up on while pulling on the sensor, and it'll just pop right out. And once those 3 connections are done, we are able to just pull the hose out. There are a few trim clips that hold the wire looms to the pipe, so you just got to pull those out, and then the hole in the Mini is this Xerox G48, I believe. It's meant for BMW, Mercedes, Mini, Volvo, etc., and it's blue. So make sure you have the correct coolant for the Mini Coopers. The local dealership near my house had actually closed down, so I couldn't go pick up some OEM coolant. So this was the closest I could get. Before you fill up the car with coolant, be sure to open up the bleed screw on top of the thermostat housing. The funnel's kind of covering up where it is, so I'll put up a picture of it so you can see exactly where it is. This is where you'll need that long Phillips screwdriver to get down in there because it's kind of deep. But once that's open, then you can start filling up the radiator with coolant, and just kind of keep checking the bleed port until you see coolant come out of it, and then tighten it back up. So then we'll know that there's some of the air has worked its way out. And once that's tightened up, just keep filling it until the reservoir is full, and then we are ready to fire it up and then re-bleed the system once the engine has warmed up a little bit. The Mini took roughly 1.5 gallons of coolant, I think, if I remember correctly. So I had a little left over. I bought 2 jugs and I had a little left over. But just make sure you get the correct coolant for it, and it's blue for this model. That's what came out of it, and that's what I'm going to put back in it. Don't forget to reconnect your battery. You won't get far if you don't connect your battery up again. So don't forget to do that. You'll need the 10mm to tighten up that connection. All right, before we fire it up, we're going to reinstall the reservoir cap. Once that's all ready to go, we're just going to do one more quick visual check, make sure everything's connected, all the radiator hoses, everything, no vacuum lines, everything's ready to go. And we're going to recheck that the bleed screw is tight, and then we're going to go fire it up. While it's running here, just check for leaks. Just kind of look down where the thermostat housing is and make sure there's nothing dripping. And then if everything looks okay, just let it warm up for a little bit, let it run for a few minutes, and then we will re-bleed the system to make sure all the air is being pushed out. And then once we're done with that, we're ready to rock and roll and give it a test drive. All right, it's been sitting here running for about 10 minutes. I'm just rechecking for leaks here, making sure that there are no issues and there's no coolant leaking out anywhere. Once everything is ready to rock and roll, what we're going to do is just reopen the bleed screw while the engine is running and the engine is warmed up, and just loosen it very slowly because coolant will come gushing out of there. We're just making sure that all of the air has worked its way out of the system. So once you loosen it up, you'll see some air bubbles come out, and once you get a steady stream of coolant, just tighten it back up, and we got all the air out.